So I'm going to attempt the bird bath and show it to you from beginning to end. I might not talk very much because I might be concentrating, but let's see how we get on. First thing I've got to do is get all this clay on the centre. It's a serious pot, so I need a serious apron. These are really brilliant once they're on, but they take a bit of getting on and off. They've got like individual leg pieces like cowboys' jodhpurs. Right, so I'm centering the clay up bit by bit because I can't personally manage to get all of that centered at once. Centering it in sections, I think is something most people can do. I wouldn't say it doesn't have some issues because you can trap air. So you have to be careful. So I'm trying to make this lump evenly convex so that there's much less chance of trapping any air between the layers. And also it needs to be dry, that surface, otherwise the next piece will slip off. The bottom of the next piece needs also to be rounded, and then you've got to try and get it in the middle. And you see, as I work my way up there, the wobble comes out at the top of the cone. Bring that down a bit. And with something the size of this piece that I'm making, this preparation is by no means an inconsiderable part of what I'm doing. I mean, for me right now, it might represent, you know, a significant portion of the work of making the piece. So it's not just a kind of irrelevance. It's you can't start doing it without it. There are other ways of centering large pieces of clay. Whatever you choose to do, you have to be committed to it. That's 2. I've got 2 more to go. I might add that preparing these balls of clay also takes time, effort, and skill. So it's all vital to the craft of wheel throwing. You can't omit any of these stages. Bit of an irregularity on this side I don't like, but again I haven't got it very central, but still I can work with what we've got. the lump's okay. The very slight lack of centering on the back can be distracting, and you can think your lump's out of centre and it's not the lump. That's why I was shutting my eyes, because I needed to work out what I was feeling, because appearances can be deceiving. Just take that down a little bit. Oh, we're getting there. One more to go. Just gonna get a bit more water because I'm actually running out. This is the last lump. So this is £17 altogether. This amount that I'm choosing to throw, which represents almost the entirety of the remainder of the reclaim. And big projects like this are good for reclaim because as a percentage of the weight, there's going to be relatively less waste clay. So in other words, less reclaim from the reclaim. You make lots of little things like nice teacups that need nice feet and stuff like that. Well, I'll be reclaiming it all again in a few months' time. But this way, there's going to be relatively little as a percentage of the weight of clay. Using my body weight now to get that down. To be very careful because the clay under your arm dries out really fast. Your arm sort of soaks it up, so you have to make sure your arm stays wet. And you can actually feel that the wheel slows down a bit as you apply that force. That's because it would actually need more power to keep going at the same speed. So unless you increase your foot pressure at the same time, it will slow down. Well, I think I've managed it. That is the biggest lump of clay I've ever centred. Previously, the biggest was £14 a few days ago. So we will see how I get on with making the bird bath. I'm not gonna comment on it because I need to think my way through it. It's actually quite useful having the camera there because I can watch the lump change shape. So bringing that down without knocking it off center for me is is no mean feat, and I can feel there is a bubble in there somewhere. I suppose almost inevitable. I'll try and bring it down just once more. want that wire anyway. Just measure my. Okay, that's 13. Okay. It. Trying to open something like this without losing too many big lumps of clay is a consideration, because it's easy to do that with a shape like this. Starting to get there. The bottom's very thick, but I don't really mind that. I will go down a little bit more, but it's better too thick than too thin. Because what happens with these big shapes is you'll be working away at them to try and get the base nice and flat, and what you don't realise is you've been gradually spreading the bottom little by little until there's not much left, and that probably happened on the last one I made, to be honest. So it's that now, and I think that's fine. In fact, I may have overcooked it already. So I'm going to concentrate on not taking any more depth out of the middle. That's what I'm talking about. So I've managed to bowl that out nicely, but I also did remove some clay, which wasn't really my intention. But wasn't too much. So I am getting somewhere towards where I want to be, in that the bulk of the clay is on the outside, so I can make the edges of my dish. And I don't really need to move any more clay out. I would just like to even it up, because I don't want to go through that base any more than I have already. So what I want to do now is just kind of flatten it a bit if I can, without moving too much more clay out of the centre. start getting that clay right out to the edge of the bat so that I can throw it upwards. That wasn't too bad. There's a massive bubble in here somewhere, but still, we've got this far. Hopefully we'll not lose it because of the bubble, although we might. I might lose it because of the bubble. Depends how much control I keep of the rim. Born not to get impatient. There's a lot of clay here, so giving time for pressure, cumulative pressure to work is important. That paintbrush is next and waiting to happen. Right, I think I've got the clay to where I want it. Ready to start pulling, which is quite exciting because that's quite an achievement in itself. That's at 14 inches, so that's good. It's good. Right. Just take that from the most translucent. Just taking a little bit of the sort of wet slops from under the very edge of the pot there. And then I'm going to start trying to throw it, which is going to be interesting. We will see how I get on. Just make sure there's no places for my hands to catch. Okay, so I have to go back to the middle. Right, here we go. So all I'm trying to judge is if I'm picking up a big enough ring of clay from the bat to make the side of the bird bath that I want, because I've got to have a fair wedge. I'm just trying to judge if I've got that about right. I am going to say that's it. I'm going to start pulling it now. I'm going to go up. Before I go out, because once I start going out, you know, you can lose it. Just get some compression on that rim before I start taking it out. You can make a big, firm, chunky rim. Okay, I'm trying to come up a bit more. And here we go. got to tell you, I'm not too unhappy with that. The first time I've made anything this size. So the next decision I make is going to be quite important. So I'm just going to dry off that rim a bit and have a little rest and a little think and a look at it.